Hey there, you inquisitive soul, and welcome back to another deep dive.
Good to be here.
Today we're going to take a close look at a really useful technique, something designers use quite a bit to understand products.
Yeah, but it's actually something anyone can use, right?
Totally. It's a way for you listening to sharpen your own observation skills, your analysis. We're diving into PMI analysis.
Right. PMI. Sounds a bit technical, maybe, but it's super straightforward.
It is. It just stands for plus.
Minus.
And interesting. Simple as that. It's just a focused way to look at, well, any product, really, and note down what's good, what's not so good, and what just catches your eye.
What's noteworthy or maybe a bit clever, yeah.
Exactly. And to really get under the hood of this, we've looked at a few different sources.
We've got insights from a PMI FAQ, something called the PMI Study Guide.
And even a student-friendly guide, which is quite accessible. So kind of a mix.
Gives us a good all-around view, I think.
Yeah. So the mission for this deep dive, we want you to get what PMI is, why it matters, and how thinking this way can lead to, well, smarter insights, whether you're designing something or just, living your life.
Okay, so let's kick things off. What is PMI specifically, and why should folks care?
We mentioned the terms, plus the good stuff, what works well.
Right, minus. The negatives, the weaknesses, areas that could definitely be better.
Interesting. That's the one that's maybe less obvious.
Yeah, I think so. It's about those unique bits, the clever things, maybe surprising features, things that make you go, It pushes you beyond just liking or disliking it.
Right, and that's key, isn't it? It forces you to look at it from different angles, not just your own personal taste.
Absolutely.
Now, the sources mentioned designers use this quite early on, like in the research phase.
Yeah.
Before they even start sketching ideas. Why then? Why so early?
Well, think about it. If you look hard at the plus and minuses of what's already out there, you get a really solid feel for what people actually like. And maybe more importantly, what still frustrates them. What problems haven't been solved properly yet.
Right, the pain points.
Exactly. And looking at the interesting stuff, that helps them spot clever ideas, maybe some unexpected solutions, or even features that seemed cool but, didn't really pan out in the real world.
Ah, okay, so it's learning from what exists already.
Precisely. Learning from the successes and the failures.
And that's where it clicks for everyone listening, I think. You start noticing the why behind product designs.
Yeah, you become more aware of the choices, the trade-offs involved.
Makes you a smarter consumer, maybe. More perceptive about your surroundings.
Definitely. You start seeing things differently.
Okay, so we get what it is and why it's useful. But when exactly does it fit into that whole design process?
The sources are pretty clear on this. It's most powerful in the research phase.
The research phase. So let's unpack why that timing is so important.
Well, the study guide and the FAQ both kind of point this out. Research is all about understanding the current situation, right? What products are out there, what users need, before you start generating new ideas.
Which is the ideation phase, yeah. Brainstorming solutions.
Exactly. So PMI gives you a structure for that initial investigation. It's not just random looking around, it's systematic.
A deliberate way to map things out.
Yeah. And the sources give some pretty straightforward steps on how to actually do a PMI analysis.
Okay, walk us through that.
First, obviously pick a product, something relevant to what you're interested in.
Makes sense.
Then, and this is important, you really examine it carefully. The FAQ stresses looking beyond just how it looks.
Right, not just the aesthetics.
No.
Yeah.
How does it work? Is it comfortable, safe? What's it made of? Size, weight, how people use it, who uses it, even where it's used or stored. It's a whole picture.
A 360-degree view, like you said.
Yeah. Then, once you've done that deep dive into the product itself, you start asking those PMI questions.
Plus, minus.
Yep. What are the strengths, the weaknesses? What's just noteworthy?
And then you got to write it down, right? The student guide mentioned a table.
Absolutely. Documenting it is key. A table, a list, whatever works. Because the last step is reviewing those notes later on.
Ah, okay. So the value comes from reflecting on what you found.
That's where it really informs your thinking. It sparks ideas. You've got this map of what works and what doesn't.
Got it. Okay, let's dig into each category a bit more, starting with plus. What's the real value there?
Well, both the FAQ and the study guide highlight that plus points really nail down the strengths, the successful features.
For things that are actually working well.
Exactly. And for designers, that's gold. It shows what users like, what functions well.
So they can use those ideas.
Yeah, the sources say they can sort of borrow those good ideas or maybe combine successful features from different products they've looked at, build on what's already proven.
Okay, and for the listener, how does knowing the plus points help me?
Well, if you're buying something, recognizing what truly works well can help you make a better choice, right?
True.
Or even just appreciate the things you already own a bit more. Understand their good points.
Okay, that makes sense. Now let's flip to minus, the weaknesses.
Right. This is about finding the flaws, the areas needing improvement. The guides really stress how important this is for designers.
Specifically.
It helps them avoid repeating mistakes. Simple as that. If you know what didn't work before, you can try to do it better.
Learning from others' errors.
Exactly. It's a roadmap of pitfalls to avoid, or things to tackle head-on and improve.
And for the listener again, understanding the minuses points.
It makes you more critical in a good way. You can spot potential frustrations before you commit to a product, maybe see limitations others missed.
Become a more discerning user. Got it. Okay, now for interesting, this one feels a bit different.
It is. The sources emphasize it's about pushing past just good bad. It's about noticing the clever stuff, the unique bits, the things that maybe surprise you or make you think.
The goal is, what? To spark something new.
Yeah, essentially. To foster new perspectives, maybe lead to more innovative ideas down the line. It gets you thinking outside the box a little.
I like that. Looking for the unexpected.
Yeah.
The FAQ mentioned examples, right? Like multi-function features.
Yeah, or maybe an unusual material choice that gives it a weird advantage, like being super durable or sustainable in a way you didn't expect.
So it encourages us, the listeners, to look closer at everyday things and ask, what's really going on here?
Exactly that. Foster that curiosity. Challenge your first impressions. Maybe that weird material seems odd at first, but then you realize its benefit and suddenly it's interesting.
It opens up possibilities.
For sure. It makes you consider things you might have just dismissed otherwise.
Now, the student guide had a good, simple example, didn't it? Something about a cable organizer.
Ah, yeah, that was a great one. Really practical.
How did that break down?
So for the plus, it was things like, keeps wires neat, it's small, it's light.
Yeah.
Pretty standard. For minus, maybe it only fits certain cable sizes, or it feels a bit flimsy, like it might break easily.
Right, common issues.
But the interesting part was that some of them can stick to walls or under desks.
That adhesive feature.
Yeah, that's not its main job, organizing cables, but that stickiness adds a whole other layer of usefulness, doesn't it?
Definitely more versatile.
And that example leads nicely into this idea from the study guide. Designing smarter, not harder.
Okay, designing smarter, not harder. Unpack that for us. How does PMI help with that?
Well, doing this kind of analysis up front gives designers those crucial insights before they spend ages developing ideas.
So they're not just brainstorming blind.
Exactly. Their ideas are grounded in what already exists, what works, what doesn't. It stops them chasing dead ends or repeating mistakes. It just makes the whole process more efficient.
More effective, too, presumably.
Yeah, you're building on existing knowledge instead of reinventing the wheel, maybe badly, every time.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like prep work. And the student guide suggested looking back at your PMI notes before you start sketching.
Yeah, reinforcing that idea. Keep those insights fresh in your mind. It backs up their point. Good design often begins with good observation.
And that feels like a principle that goes way beyond just product design.
Oh, absolutely. Just consciously applying that plus-minus interesting lens to, well, anything you're looking at or trying to figure out. A problem, a decision.
Even just everyday objects.
Yeah. Considering those angles helps you spot the strengths, the weaknesses, the unique bits you might normally miss.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. We've seen PMI plus minus. Interesting is pretty simple on the surface, but actually a really powerful way to analyze stuff.
Yeah, it gets you beyond just gut reaction, forces a more systematic look at the good, the bad, and the interesting.
And while it's big in the design world, especially early on in research,
the core idea, structured observation, critical thinking that's useful everywhere, for everyone.
It's about training yourself to be more analytical, more insightful about the world.
Definitely. Looking for the plus, the minus, the interesting. It helps you see things more clearly, appreciate the why behind them.
Develop a more discerning eye, maybe?
I think so. Leads to a deeper understanding, maybe better choices too.
So here's a final thought for everyone listening. Something to mull over after this deep dive.
Go on.
Pick something common, anything. A coffee mug, your keys, an app you use all the time.
Okay.
And just quickly try running it through PMI in your head. What's a plus? A minus? What's genuinely interesting about it?
A little mental exercise.
Yeah. See what jumps out when you look at it that way. What new perspective do you get on this everyday thing?
That's a great takeaway. It's surprising what you notice when you actually look for it.
Exactly. It's a cool way to appreciate the thought that goes into things. Or maybe even get an idea yourself. Thanks for digging into PMI with us today.
My pleasure. It was interesting.